we're going to put struts on this Fiat. So there's the strut. Thought I'd shoot a video just kind of showing you how to do a strut. I'm doing quick struts. Got them from Monroe. So actually pretty good price on Rock Auto. Again, this is the vehicle that it's got a bent wheel. I straightened the wheel out and now it's holding air, but the tire is bad because it was driven like that. So we're replacing tires, lining it as well. There might be more wrong with it. I've measured everything out. The control arm does not seem to be bent. The toe is definitely out. And I thought the inner tire was bent, but it didn't seem to be bent. So I'm gonna, I know the upper strut mount's making all sorts of noise now on this side. This is the side that hit. So pretty sure that it tweaked this strut a little bit. So I'm gonna replace it. And I'm not gonna replace just one, I'm gonna replace both sides on the front, because this has got 120 some thousand miles on it. Went ahead and sprayed that nut right there, because that sway link has to come off. And then these bolts here have to come out, and then we'll have to do the top. So we'll go ahead and do that. So first things first, we've got to get this clip here off. Get the brake line out of the way. So let's just go ahead and do that. Pops right off there. That should then squeeze out of there. This should pop out of there. So there's the ABS sensor wire. Biggest thing here is this sway bar length. These tend to spin. The stud tends to spin. If you take a look at this, take a look at this right here. There's an Allen in there to help break loose. So what I usually do is hit it with an impact just to break it loose, and then I don't want to spin this because it'll wear this out. Probably isn't a horrible idea to replace this, but I don't feel any play in it. So let's see what size it is. Go ahead and pop this loose. Oh, I got lucky. Sometimes it helps if you spray it with something and let it set for a little bit and then it just pops right off. Not always that lucky though. So that's out. These need to come out now. I think they're a 17. Yep. Then you need a wrench. This appears to be a 15 over here and a 17 on the other side. Now, if you're doing this on something else, keep in mind, so I'm aligning this, so I don't even care, but a lot of these will have a slot on the bottom side on different cars. I don't think this one does. So they make a camber gauge. It goes right here. It's magnetic. And basically what you do when you do something like this that has the adjustment there already, you put it on there, make sure your rotor is bolted down to where it won't move. Adjust it to 0 and then take this loose, and then when you put the strut back on, you can actually adjust your camera back to 0 and it'll be pretty close. It still needs an alignment really, but close enough to get it down the road. You can also eyeball it. This one I do not believe has slots, so I think we'll be okay. Let's go ahead and those are out. So now I should be able to pop this out. Now I usually leave this bolt in for a little bit. What's going to happen is when you take the strut completely out, this whole hub tends to come forward. You could actually pull the inner CV shaft apart. So your drive shaft here, your CV shaft, has an outer joint and inner joint, and it's usually a tulip joint on the inner, and it can actually pull apart. Some of them won't let that happen. I've actually had some that happen with. So what I often do is use a bungee cord to tie this to something. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Find yourself a short bungee cord, and then you can tie it back to where it'll just hold itself. I'll go ahead and take this out. Might be some suspension pressure on it. There we go. See how it drops down? And this will just come out. And now this is, once we take the top loose, it'll just pop out of there. And again, I'm going to caught on everything. Just wrap this around something so it doesn't, see how it wants to naturally go this direction. I just don't want it to, so I'm just going to have it kind of like that. Just keep an eye on it. It kind of naturally wants to go there. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think anything is going to happen to it. So, but just in case. All right, so we're going to do the top now. All right, here we are at the top. This is under the hood. There is the nut you need to take off of the strut. So this is on there. I already took this off. This pops off. Just need to get to this. This is kind of in the way. So what I'm going to do, you use an extension and a wobble and get in there. See if I can get that off without having to pull this piece off here. Save a little extra time. There we go. It's pretty helpful to have an impact to do this because that nut has got a nylock in it and it's hard to do. So if you don't have an impact, you can actually, there's a Allen head at the top of it and go into there. And keep in mind, I wasn't reusing the strut, so I didn't care that I was spinning it like that. You really shouldn't spin the shaft too much. It actually wasn't spinning, the strut was spinning on the bottom. So that's out. There we go. Strut is now out. So I got the strut out. Here is the quick strut I was talking about. In case you didn't know what a quick strut is, it's ready to go in. So it's got a new upper piece. It's got the new nut. So we just put it right in there. It's ready to go. It's got all new pieces. I knew there was something wrong with this upper strut mount. So that's why I went ahead and got the whole quick strut. Plus it's just easier to put on. So we're going to put that on next. All right, before you put them in there, just make sure you've got the right side. There's a right and a left side on these and a lot of other struts. So notice the bracket right there. Right there. So just make sure everything matches, lay them side by side before you put the new one in. And then we're going to go ahead and put her in there. I've got the car lowered so I can do this. The nut and this go on the top, from the top side. So I'm just going to stick it up in there. This is going to go up here. Seems to be holding itself pretty well. This goes on that side, this goes on this side. This goes over here. So sometimes it helps to go ahead and put the steering knuckle back in there. Actually, I think this goes around this side. And then put a couple of bolts in it. Have it coming up to the top. Find the hole again. And then hold this in place. There we go. All right. So we've got that sitting there. One bolt holding it in place. Let's go ahead and get this bolt up here in place. So I'm going to have to push this up on there while I'm doing this. So I'm going to use a jack. So I'm putting a jack under the lower control arm. If I had a helper, this wouldn't be a big deal. I could probably do it by myself, just hold it up and start it, but I kind of want to make sure it's centered when I tighten that down. So the shape of the top of this is the same shape as that, so it just fits in there and centers itself. Now we just put this in there, like that. Put your nut on, Maybe use a ratcheting wrench and put an Allen in there. Seems to be holding. So I think I'm gonna use a ratchet. Again, you don't really want to use an impact going together with a new one. You don't want to spin that shaft. It can damage just really any strut, because this is the main shaft. But you do what you want to do. There we go, that one's tight. Hit it once more, make sure I got it tight. Don't want these coming apart. Just put this back on there. Then we'll go down and button up the bottom. All right, so let's go ahead and get these bolts back in. And then the sway bar should go right in, hopefully. Hopefully this nut will just tighten down. I think it's 18. Yep. And then this should pop right back in there. And this should pop into there. And then I've got to get the little thing out of there, out of the old strut, to keep that in, although I don't think that's going to come out. All right, so it was like this. And then you got to pull it up over that with your pick. So there's that retainer, that's in. That's in, top's tight. So this side's good to go. We just repeat the process on the other side. It's the same thing. And then obviously get it aligned when you do something like this. I mean, there was no real alignment issues, but the ride height will change, especially if it's an older strut. And as I said before, this one hit a curb. So, and I have measured out the steering knuckle, but I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being bent when I put it on the alignment machine, because you can look at your angles and figure that out. But hopefully not. Hopefully it's simple. I just realign it and it's good to go. All right. Thanks for tuning in.